and that is Sophie Cunningham. Now, if you don't know, a lot of people have been insinuating that the Fever may be moving on from Sophie Cunningham, or Sophie Cunningham may be wanting to move on for the Fever. But whatever the case may be, all of the debates, all of the rumors and speculation, that's over with, bruh. That is over with, because I'm here to tell you, late last night, Sophie Cunningham sent Caitlin Clark a powerful message, and she let it be known that she actually wanted to return being Caitlin Clark's teammate for the 2000.
Sophie Cunningham appears to have dropped a major hint regarding her future plans with the Indiana Fever, specifically suggesting she plans to stick around as Caitlin Clark's teammate heading into the 2026 season. The situation unfolded during Clark's recent birthday celebrations, where numerous individuals from across basketball and media circles sent well wishes to the standout guard. Among all the birthday greetings Clark received, Cunningham's particular message has sparked considerable attention and discussion. There's been ongoing chatter suggesting the Fever might part ways with Cunningham, or perhaps Cunningham herself was considering exploring other options. However, those conversations and theories may have just become irrelevant based on what Cunningham posted.
2026 basketball season. Let's head on over to X and pull it up right now, dog. So, yeah, man, a lot of people sent Caitlin Clark out information yesterday. And just like I stated, Sophie Cunningham posted this picture alongside Caitlin Clark. Now, she captioned this picture, and that's what kind of making headlines. She stated, "Happy birthday, love bug. Praying this is the best, most powerful, and exciting year yet." At Caitlin Clark 2022. Now, Mike stated after
the Phoenix guard shared a photo featuring herself with Clark on social media, but the accompanying text proved most noteworthy. Cunningham wrote, "Happy birthday, love bug. Praying this is the best, most powerful, and exciting year yet at Caitlin Clark 2022. Reactions came flooding in almost immediately. One observer commented that based on Cunningham's post, it's reasonable to expect she'll ink another contract with Indiana, which would mean the organization retains one of the league's premier long-range shooters. Another individual questioned why people constantly speculate about departures, noting that if Indiana's management operates wisely, they'll maintain most of their current roster intact.
Now, Mike stated after this post from Sophie Cunningham to Caitlin Clark, "I would like to assume she will be re-signing with the Indiana Fever. The team gets to keep one of the best three-point shooters in the league." Then somebody said, "Why do you always assume that she's leaving? If Indiana is very smart, they'll keep the majority of them." Somebody else said, "Didn't, but she's a good player, and there are two new expansion teams who will have plenty of cap space." Then somebody else said, "I think she's at home with Indy. Only way she leaves."
Sandy Brondello, coaching the expansion Valkyries, recently expressed enthusiasm about three particular matchups for the upcoming campaign. Phoenix topped her list for obvious personal connections. It serves as her off-season residence. Her kids live there. Her social circle exists there. She coached there and captured a championship during an 8-year stint. Visiting and competing in that environment holds special meaning. New York came second, where she previously coached before joining the Valkyries, offering opportunities to reconnect with supporters, experience an excellent venue, and see former players she mentored. Indianapolis rounded out her top three because everyone wants opportunities against Clark, plus the Fever have cultivated massive fan engagement for the league.
Somebody else said, "I think she's at home with Indy. Only way she leaves as if the Fever tried to lowball her. Shouldn't happen." Somebody else said, "They better sign her." Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi, and Kelsey better all be back. That's something I don't know, man. I know we want Caitlin and the whole game to be back, but as right now, we don't know. I didn't see this. Said Sandy Bordello was excited for the Tempo to play Caitlin Clark. Let's listen to this.
Okay, 3.
Brondello anticipates her squad entering an incredibly loud environment, which should create entertaining basketball. Another headline-grabbing moment involved Boston and Lisa Bluder appearing together on a panel discussion. The conversation naturally turned toward Clark and her birthday. The moderator highlighted how both panelists share connections to one of women's basketball's most transcendent talents, noting they'd both acknowledged Clark's birthday publicly. Bluder's tribute appeared alongside Boston's collage of photos, demonstrating their continuing bonds with the superstar despite different current circumstances. Boston as an active teammate, Bluder as her former college coach.
Okay, 3 games that I'm really excited and looking forward to. taking the tempo to play is number one, Phoenix, for obvious reasons. That is my off-season base. My children will be there. All my friends are there. I coach there. I won a championship there for 8 years, so that's always a fun city to visit and play a basketball game. New York, that was where I coached before I came to Tempo, and just to obviously...
When asked about her current relationship with Clark, Bluder revealed they communicate regularly. She tracks all of Clark's achievements and triumphs, always wanting to support and champion her corner. Bluder expressed tremendous respect for what Clark has accomplished and managed to handle throughout her brief 24 years of existence. She joked with Clark that her 20s have treated her exceptionally well, to which the moderator agreed they've been absolutely transformative. Boston was asked about watching Clark's final collegiate campaign while working at the broadcast desk, then seeing their professional partnership develop.
Came to Tempo and just to obviously see the fans again. It's a really great arena to play in and see the former players that I coached there. That will be special. And then I have Indiana because everyone loves to play against Caitlin Clark, and I think they've got such a big following in this league too. So, you know, our players to go into a very loud arena, I think that will be fun. Okay, 3 games that I'm really excited and looking forward to.
So that was Sandy Bardello speaking about potentially playing Caitlin Clark for the 2026 season and returning back to New York.
Boston described the experience as genuinely fantastic, though admittedly strange initially when transitioning from opponents to teammates and cultivating that connection. Over the past 2 seasons since Clark arrived in Indianapolis, they've built something amazing both during games and away from competition. The moderator observed that both athletes operate at elite levels, so when they united, their shared college backgrounds aside, recognizing mutual mindsets and skill sets likely happened quickly. Having someone capable of elevating your performance to unprecedented heights creates natural chemistry. Boston enjoyed an outstanding season previously, and being paired with someone as fiercely competitive as Clark provides constant motivation.
Speaking about potentially playing Caitlin Clark for the 2026 season and returning back to New York, that should be a sight to see. Now, something else that caught headlines last night was Aaliyah Boston and Lisa Bluder on a panel together, bro. Speaking about Caitlin Clark and her birthday, let's give it a listen.
What's interesting about you both now is you have a connective thread, one of the most transcendent players in the history of women's basketball, and Caitlin Clark. And it's her birthday today. You guys both shouted her out.
Yes, that's my
Coach
girl.
Bluder and Aaliyah. Yeah, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen from Coach, and then Aaliyah doing a matchup of pictures, which is really...
They push each other toward greatness. Boston described their pre-game routine of embracing and exchanging affirmations. Clark tells her she'll be incredible because she is incredible, and Boston reciprocates. That confidence Clark radiates continuously lifts those around her, and they return that energy. The moderator mentioned feeling thrilled for Boston when Clark landed in Indiana, knowing Boston would benefit from countless assists and feeds down court, forming a dynamic partnership. The relationship between Clark and Boston has proven remarkably special.
Matchup of pictures, which is really sweet. I love this for you guys because you guys are both still really close. Obviously, Aaliyah as a current teammate, but how close are you still, Coach, to Caitlin?
Oh, I talk to her quite often. You know, I follow all of her successes and everything. I just always want to be in her camp and support her. I have so much admiration for her, for what she has really not only just accomplished, but what she's handled in her young 24 years of life. I told her today, your 20s have been pretty good to you.
I would say so.
Some South Carolina supporters still wish Boston would separate herself from Clark, which seems puzzling considering they've emerged as arguably the finest big guard combination around. Their partnership could potentially mirror legendary duos from basketball history, comparable to iconic pairings that dominated their era. While Kelsey Mitchell undeniably brings tremendous talent, speculation suggests she might depart before Boston does. Clark and Boston potentially possess the chemistry and complementary abilities to remain partners throughout their entire careers, assuming both choose to stay in Indianapolis. It's difficult imagining Indiana willingly parting with either Boston or Clark, and whether they'd even consider leaving remains completely unknown.
It's like a minor league system of another professional league like AA baseball. This kind of thing, in my opinion, makes the players look desperate. It looks like they're really trying to get something that has nothing to do with money. They're trying to make some kind of a power play statement. But the WNBA put this out. I know a lot of people's already covered this, but I at least wanted to have this up here going into the two other things I've got.
Regardless of roster uncertainties, having Clark and Boston as teammates represents something beautiful for basketball fans. The pressing matter involves finalizing the collective bargaining agreement. Getting that CBA completed would allow WNBA free agency proceedings to advance, which represents the most anticipated development moving forward. Fans eagerly await updates on contract situations and roster movements. With winter weather approaching certain regions, content production may increase significantly as people spend extended periods indoors.
Going into the two other things I've got, for those, if you are asking, here's a petition. Please go sign our petition. As if Adam Silver in the NBA and the WNBA and Kathy Engelbert is going to listen to a very small minority of fans. And that's what it is. They're asking the old WNBA fandom to step up here. After months of stalling in negotiations, the WNBA team owners continue to ignore player demands and jeopardize the future of women's professional.
Whether Clark does something remarkable during the upcoming days or the WNBA makes major announcements remains to be seen, but attention stays focused on any breaking developments surrounding the league's brightest stars and their futures with their respective organizations. The WNBA Players Association has released promotional materials regarding ongoing contract discussions, featuring statements from Sophie Cunningham alongside previous remarks from Rebecca Lobo. The union's messaging appears problematic and creates an impression of desperation rather than legitimate bargaining strength. The promotional campaign includes an online signature collection effort, seemingly designed to pressure Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the NBA ownership structure. This approach targets a limited segment of the existing fan base rather than the broader audience.
Negotiations, the WNBA team owners continue to ignore player demands and jeopardize the future of women's professional basketball. Here's the problem. Smart fans that have been paying attention know that's a lie. I mean, that's a lie. We've seen the money on the table from the owners. Now they put their money where their mouth is, and we don't want to hear it. But yet you put out ridiculous shit like this. Mick Talks Hoops shared this on his Twitter. This is nuts. This statement is insane from the WNBA PA, claiming that people are tuning in.
The messaging claims ownership groups have delayed discussions and threatened the sport's viability. However, observers following the situation closely recognize these assertions as misleading. Financial proposals from ownership have been publicly documented, demonstrating substantial monetary commitments, yet the union continues pushing narratives contradicting available evidence. Commentary from various basketball analysts highlights particularly questionable elements in the union's public statements. One notable example features the organization elevating Alyssa Thomas as a key attraction for viewership, despite her controversial reputation among fans and media observers.
People are tuning into this league for Alyssa Thomas, one of the most unlikable athletes I've ever covered, talked about, mused on, anything. There's nobody tuning in for Alyssa Thomas. Yeah, if 2 million fans were going to watch, 150,000 might tune in for Alyssa Thomas. She's no bargaining chip. In fact, she's one.
Thomas represents one of the more polarizing figures in the competition, having demonstrated hostile behavior toward Indiana Fever supporters and Caitlin Clark enthusiasts specifically. The reality remains clear. Without Caitlin Clark's arrival and subsequent impact, current financial discussions would not exist. The dramatic increase in proposed compensation, representing 9 times previous contract values, stems directly from media rights agreements influenced by Clark's drawing power. The union's persistent refusal to acknowledge this fundamental truth while simultaneously avoiding any positive mention of Clark reveals ongoing resentment within the organization. This approach has resulted in significant erosion of public backing.
Bargaining chip. In fact, she's one of the league wreckers out there. And I'm talking about wreck the league. We've saw how Alyssa Thomas has treated Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin Clark fans, and Caitlin Clark. None of this is happening without Caitlin Clark. None of it. You're not getting offered 9 times the amount of money by the end of a new CBA proposal if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark in that media rights deal. That's not happening.
Contemporary fans increasingly access unfiltered analysis from independent sources rather than sanitized mainstream coverage or advocacy-driven narratives. The evaluation focuses purely on athletic performance and financial metrics. When numbers fail to justify claims, the disconnect becomes immediately apparent. Sophie Cunningham's recent statements regarding collective bargaining negotiations raise serious concerns about the situation's trajectory.
Happening. So, once again, what did I just say about this? Well, that's a lie. Well, that's a lie. You put out these ridiculous things, and by the way, it just shows that the league still can't get past hating Caitlin Clark. It's crazy. This league is officially hemorrhaging support. Fans are like, no.
During an appearance on the Show Me Something podcast on January 15th, Cunningham expressed pessimism about reaching an agreement before spring deadlines. Her assessment suggests a work stoppage has become increasingly probable. When host Wes Wilson inquired about negotiation progress, Cunningham characterized the current agreement structure as fundamentally flawed and trending toward a complete breakdown. She indicated that weekly updates from union representatives only reinforced her negative assessment of the process.
Hemorrhaging support. Fans are like, no, we're getting the full scoop from people that are actually, and they're not sugarcoating it. They're not giving us the sports media version. They're not giving us the protect women's sports version. We're not giving you none of that. Because it's just athletes and numbers, as far as I'm concerned. If the numbers don't match, if the numbers don't add up, I'm going to call BS. I mean, that's all there is to it. Sophie Cunningham.
Despite Cunningham's generally positive public image and professional conduct, the financial reality remains unchanged. While ownership has presented generous offers, the revenue distribution model demanded by players lacks feasibility. The NBA organization and Commissioner Adam Silver face separate pressures regarding the 16% ownership stake previously sold to external investors outside traditional basketball ownership circles. Informed observers understand the actual financial figures involved and recognize that the proposed gross revenue sharing arrangement, targeting 30% distribution, exists outside realistic possibilities.
Sophie Cunningham. Stance on the CBA negotiations signal a red flag. Her comments sure as hell do. There's a chance that a potential lockout will become an option if spring arrives with no CBA in place. Sophie Cunningham seems to believe this is a likely outcome, which is conveyed during the January 15th episode of the Show Me Something podcast. Quote, our CBA is so dumb right now,